Solo Leveling will be one of the best new anime series to come out in 2024, and I know that it's going to be a contender for Anime of the Year, and here's why. Welcome to Anime Donut, your #1 source for anime and manga news and videos. What is your favorite flavor of donut? I'd also like to give a shout out to one of our fellow weebs, RRD0122. Great job on being the first to guess the answer to our quiz. Now, if you've been living under a rock or happen to not know where Solo Leveling came from, then that's just sad, because you might even be surprised that Solo Leveling has one of the biggest fan bases in the entire world, possibly even surpassing your favorite manga. Because, well, based on Kakao, Solo Leveling sold well over 30 million of its webtoons and web novel, which, I mean, is not on the level of One Piece or Naruto, but hey, at least it's higher than Chainsaw Man and Assassination Classroom. But we're not here to compare. We're here to talk about how godly it is, especially since episode 1 finally came out. So, what makes Solo Leveling so good? Well, we gotta talk about its plot first. You see, the series is a power fantasy, and judging from that, there's definitely no isekai here. Like, no one's gonna get hit by a truck or die from some kind of heart attack after they thought they were going to be hit by a tractor. A power fantasy anime is something more like Misfit of the Demon King or Dan Maki, while isekai are shows like That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime and Eminence and Shadow. There's a clear difference because the MC doesn't get transported into another world. In Solo Leveling, entities known as gates appeared everywhere on Earth. These gates linked our world to other dimensions, which hosted horrific creatures, like your friendly neighborhood goblin from Goblin Slayer, to giant ants and even dragons. When humanity tried fighting against these monsters, conventional weapons couldn't even kill the weakest of them. But all hope wasn't lost, because some humans gained extraordinary abilities, and they were the only ones that could fight back. They were called hunters, and their abilities come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. Some can summon lightning, some are like assassins, others are as hard as tanks, while the rare ones can heal. Of course, since it's a power fantasy, there has to be a ranking system. But what's interesting here is that once you're awakened, you're evaluated and given a rank. Ranks are from E, which is the lowest, to D, C, B, A, and then the highest tier is S. But even if you train with Goku or go to the Dark Continent, your rank and abilities will always stay the same. So why is the word leveling in the title? Well, chill, because we'll get to that later. With all that said, we get to meet our main character, Song Jin-woo. And well, he's kinda just faster and stronger than the average person. He's called the weakest hunter of all time, because this man's getting beat up by goblins and is so poor his knife breaks every time he fights a monster, since he's E rank. I mean, personally, I think he just faked his ranking, because ain't no way E rank's that weak. And if you don't want me considering you weak as him, after you watch this video, maybe go watch some of our other videos. We really appreciate that kind of stuff. Anyway, during one raid, his party encountered a double dungeon, and you just have to watch episode 1 to see what happens. After the incident, he wakes up all healed, and that's when he realizes that system notifications are popping up and he can level up. He's the only hunter that can grow their skills. And let me tell you, this man is set out to become a god. But maybe you're wondering, that's just a normal power fantasy plot. And you're definitely right. That is the most basic, simple, and cliche power fantasy storyline, where the MC starts out weak, finds a way to increase his power, and then becomes the strongest. So why is it popular? Because it doesn't pretend that it's not exactly that. You see, other power fantasy series try to put in some extra spice or completely don't even try to acknowledge that they are part of that genre. And sometimes it just doesn't work. This is why a series like Solo Leveling, Misfit of the Demon King, and Eminence and Shadow work. Because they just embrace it. I mean, Anos chose his own name while Shadow has the cringiest lines ever. Meanwhile, Solo Leveling takes it on a more serious tone. And it's freaking awesome. And it's not also cringe, unlike when you're trying to talk to your crush. There's also the fact that the art style was godlike. I am not kidding, because how can the artist make something so colorful, so detailed, and so dynamic that when I first saw it, I literally had some orgasms. I mean, look at it. Doesn't it make you want to keep reading and see another badass fight scene? Solo Leveling's art style has become the golden standard of manhwa, which is Korean comics, and manhwa, which is Chinese comics, while manga is Japanese. So don't confuse those three because you might just get canceled by every single fan base in Asia. Back to the art, it was so good that they even called it the manhwa that was almost perfect. And that's only because nothing is perfect. But don't say you're nothing, so you're perfect too, because that line's so old even my dead grandpa wouldn't laugh in his grave. So if the art is good, so is the animation, right? Well, it did have some changes like character proportions, but other than that, yeah, it was insanely well done. I mean, they didn't even have to add the scene where Cha Hae-in backflipped because it wasn't even in the manhwa. The studio just wanted to flex, and I think there was one exact frame that was needed for the plot, if you know what I mean. So far, the quality is very solid, and they have to be, otherwise this studio might make a mistake they can never financially recover from. But what about the characters, I hear you ask? Are they interesting? Heck yeah! There's even a bit of mystery involved, which I won't spoil because it might just ruin the entire show for you, but Sung Jin-woo, especially when we see his progress, is just a completely different person. And there are moments where he's just so cold. There are other hunters like Choi Jong-in, a fire mage that's called the Ultimate Soldier, and another character named Bak Yoon-hoo, who can quite literally transform into a white tiger. And of course, our best girl, Cha Hae-in, and she's not called the dancer for nothing, because her swordplay is just wild. But there are tons more, and even the side characters aren't really forgettable. The entire story of Solo Leveling isn't limited to Korea either. We get to travel to Japan, the US, and even to other dimensions that were unknown to man. This is great world building, if I do say so myself, and based on the pacing of the series, we might just get a banger. So far, it's showing a lot of promise, and the fact that episode 1 already precisely followed the manhwa is a really good sign. Let's just hope they don't pull out a 7 Deadly Sins Season 3 on us. Before you go, just in case you want to know which anime you probably shouldn't watch in public, go ahead and click here. Anyway guys, that's gonna do it for this video, but what do you think about Solo Leveling? Is it worth the watch, or is it just overhyped? Let us know down in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share it. It really helps us, and we really appreciate it. We want to be able to keep making this kind of content for you, so everything you do for us really helps. Anime Donut rolling out.